There's something you probably don't admit out loud, but you feel it every day. You want more out of life. More money, more freedom, more success, more meaning. But at the same time, you can't seem to push yourself the way everyone else seems to. You scroll, you procrastinate, you plan big, and then stall on the small. You're ambitious, but you're lazy. And for years, you've believed that those two things cancel each other out. But what if they don't? What if that exact contradiction, lazy and ambitious, is not your curse, but your key? See, most people misunderstand laziness. They think it's the opposite of ambition. They think if you don't wake up at 5 a.m., run 10 miles, and drink black coffee while journaling about your grind set, then you're doomed to mediocrity. But here's the truth. The universe doesn't reward the busiest. It rewards the most aligned. It doesn't care how many hours you spend forcing. It cares about whether you're moving in flow. And if you're the kind of person who dreams big but struggles with discipline, you may actually be wired for something different than endless hustle. You may be built for leverage, for shortcuts that aren't cheating but strategy, for finding the straight line to what everyone else is zigzagging around. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in history came from someone who was too lazy to do things the long, hard way. Why invent the wheel? Because dragging things sucks. Why create electricity? Because lighting candles every night is exhausting. Why build the internet? Because mailing letters takes forever. Laziness, when paired with ambition, creates innovation. It forces you to ask, what's the simplest way to get the biggest result? That's not weakness. That's genius. But here's where most ambitious, lazy people get trapped. Instead of leveraging their nature, they shame themselves for it. You wake up and think, I should be doing more. You watch other people posting about their 16-hour grind days, and you think, something's wrong with me. That shame doesn't motivate you. It paralyzes you. It makes you double lazy. So here's the reframe. The universe didn't design you wrong. You're not broken. You just need to learn how to work with your wiring instead of against it. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you've got two paths to success. Path A. Wake up early, burn yourself out, hustle harder than everyone else, push through resistance every single day until maybe, just maybe, you reach your goals before you collapse. Path B. Figure out the 20% of actions that create 80% of the results. Automate, outsource, focus only on what matters, and ruthlessly ignore the rest. Which path do you think is built for someone who calls themselves lazy but ambitious? Exactly. Path B. And here's the kicker. Path B usually wins faster anyway, because while grinders are busy flexing their work ethic, you're busy removing friction. They're working harder. You're working smarter. Now, let's get practical because I know what you're thinking. Okay, that sounds nice, but how do I actually use this? How do I stop procrastinating and actually build the life I want? Step 1. Stop trying to fix your laziness. You don't need to become a productivity robot. You need to channel your ambition through your natural shortcuts. For example, if you hate long tasks, break everything into micro steps. Don't write a book. Write one messy paragraph. Don't build a business. Sell one thing once. You'll trick yourself into momentum. And momentum is addictive. Step 2. Design your environment so it does the work for you. If you know you procrastinate, set traps for your future self. Put your phone in another room. Automate your savings so money grows without discipline. Surround yourself with people who are already doing the thing you want to do. Their energy will pull you forward without effort. Lazy people succeed when the environment carries them instead of willpower. Step 3. Embrace leverage. Tools, technology, connections. Use them. Be efficient. Outsource the boring parts. Lazy ambition thrives when you don't waste energy on what doesn't matter. And step 4. Play the long game of consistency. You don't need to work 12 hours today. You need to do something small every day that compounds. One YouTube video a week, one blog post, one sale. That's how mountains get moved, not by force, but by persistence. There's a deeper layer to this conversation that most people never explore because it's uncomfortable, confronting, and painfully honest. But you're here reading this, which means you're ready to go beneath the surface. Because this isn't just about productivity, It isn't just about doing more, working harder, or finally getting your life together. This is about identity, the quiet story you tell yourself every single day, the story that shapes your behavior, your decisions, your confidence, your direction, and ultimately, your destiny. If you've spent years calling yourself lazy, even jokingly, you've unknowingly built an identity around that label. And identity is powerful. Identity silently dictates who you believe you are and what you believe you're capable of. So when you say, "I'm just lazy," even casually, it doesn't stay as a joke. It becomes a belief. It becomes a lens. It becomes a filter that colors your entire life. And when you live through that lens long enough, it creates guilt, a deep, persistent guilt. You start feeling like you're always behind, always failing, always disappointing yourself. You feel unworthy of your own dreams, unworthy of your own potential. And the worst part? You start comparing your behind-the-scenes struggles with other people's highlight reels. You see their hustle, you see their routines, you see their productivity, and you think, why can't I do that? Why am I like this? But here's the truth that most people never hear. Other people's grind has absolutely nothing to do with your path. Other people's rhythm has nothing to do with your alignment. The world doesn't reward the person who works the hardest. It rewards the person who works in harmony with who they are. Your unique flow might not look like the traditional hustle everyone worships. Your flow might look like bursts of intense, explosive creativity, followed by periods of rest where nothing seems to happen on the surface. But subtle inner alignment is taking place underground. Your flow might look like getting your best ideas at midnight while everyone else is asleep. Your flow might look like building systems, automations, and shortcuts so things work even when you don't. Your flow might look like deep work sessions that last 2 hours followed by long stretches where you recharge, observe, absorb, and think. That's not laziness. That's your wiring. That's your design. That's your advantage. The universe didn't put you here to grind yourself into dust, to work yourself to exhaustion, or to live your life constantly feeling like you're not doing enough. The universe wants you awake enough to notice the opportunities lining up in front of you, awake enough to feel the inspiration when it arrives, awake enough to sense the path opening before you. Because if you're too busy forcing, pushing, and punishing yourself, you miss the signs, you miss the aligned opportunities, you miss the intuitive nudges, you miss the door that quietly opened for you when you weren't looking. Think about it like this. Imagine you're fishing. You can thrash around in the water, splashing, kicking, shouting, scaring every fish within miles. You can exhaust yourself, overwork yourself, and end the day with nothing. Or you can sit still, cast your line strategically, wait with awareness, move only when it matters, and suddenly, the fish come to you. Not because you forced them, but because you match the rhythm of the lake. That's how the universe works. That's how alignment works. That's how flow works. So maybe, just maybe, you're not lazy. Maybe you're just not meant to exhaust yourself on things that don't matter. Maybe the reason you procrastinate isn't because you're broken. Maybe you procrastinate because the path you're forcing isn't aligned with you. Maybe your soul is resisting not because you're weak, but because you're wise. And what if your real job, your real assignment, is to figure out what actually matters in your life, and then design a path where even your lazy nature becomes part of your success? That shift alone can change everything. So let me ask you a question that could transform your entire relationship with yourself. What if laziness isn't your weakness, but your filter? What if it's not a flaw, but a compass? What if your laziness is actually your soul telling you what is unaligned, unnecessary, or inefficient? When you stop asking, how do I force myself to work harder? And start asking, what's the simplest, most effortless way I can reach this goal? Everything changes. That question pulls you toward efficiency, toward clarity, toward strategy, toward alignment. Because here's the real secret. Ambition is the fire. Laziness is the container. One gives you the vision. The other forces you to find the most elegant path forward. Together, they make innovation. Together, they make efficiency. Together, they make your true path, the one that's meant for you. And when you stop rejecting your nature, and start embracing it, something incredible happens. You stop wasting energy trying to become someone you're not. You stop punishing yourself for not fitting into the mold society worships. You stop fighting against your own wiring, and instead you begin creating from who you already are. You begin building a life that works with your energy instead of against it. You start recognizing that your lazy nature pushes you toward better systems, smarter choices, and more sustainable paths. You begin to see that your rhythm, your unique way of moving through the world, is not a flaw. It's your edge. It's your leverage. It's your built-in advantage. And the universe responds to people who honor their nature. That's when doors begin to open that you didn't even know existed. That's when shortcuts begin appearing, almost magically. That's when opportunities show up that feel effortless, natural, aligned. That's when the life you've been craving begins moving toward you faster than you imagined. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with the frequency of your own potential. So if you're lazy but ambitious, you're not doomed. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not lacking discipline. You're designed differently. You're the innovator. You're the strategist. You're the one who asks, is there a smarter way? And that question, that sacred curiosity, is the root of every breakthrough humanity has ever created. All progress begins with someone too lazy to accept the inefficient route. All innovation begins with someone too ambitious to settle for a small life. And you, uniquely, beautifully, unmistakably, carry both. So here's your invitation, your turning point, your inner pivot, your permission slip to stop fighting yourself. Stop apologizing for your nature. Stop shaming yourself for procrastination. Stop calling yourself lazy like it's a flaw. And instead, use it. Use your ambition as the guide. Use your laziness as the filter. Together, they will carry you further than any amount of guilt ever could. If you're ready, truly ready, to stop treating yourself like a broken machine and start treating yourself like a brilliant system that needs the right strategy, then I want you to declare it. Not for me, for you. Drop a comment right now that simply says, I'm ready to work smarter. No story, no justification, no apologies, just those 4 words. Because sometimes the most powerful shift in a person's life begins with a single moment of honesty, spoken out loud. And if you know someone who is stuck, someone who is drowning in guilt, someone who secretly dreams of more but can't seem to push themselves the way the world expects them to, share this with them. They need this. They need the reminder that they're not broken. They're not behind. They're not doomed. They're just built differently. And that difference is their path. Remember this. Remember it deeply, because it might become the sentence that changes your life. You're not broken. You're built differently. And the moment you stop resisting your design and start working with it, the moment you stop forcing and start aligning, the universe responds. It begins giving you everything you've always wanted, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally matched the rhythm of who you're meant to be. And when you do that, when you step into flow, you don't chase your life comes to you.